Let's get to hot picks. Our guest is focused on small caps. We are joined by Dan Skubiz, Senior Portfolio Manager at FM Investments. Dan, thank you very much indeed for joining us. I got to admit, I often buy winter gear, etc., in workwear shops. I find the prices are good, the stuff lasts. Tell us about Boot Barn. You see potential in this stock.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, Boot Barn, retail in general is a very difficult business. And I think Boot Barn is unique because there's not really anybody else doing it to the extent that they are. So they're a retailer of Western and work-related footwear and apparel. We think that they're pretty differentiated because they have a dominant market position, really loyal clients, working class demographics. Their store growth strategy has been very good, about 15% store growth a year. They're growing their margins through the expansion of some of their own brands, and at the same time they're developing their e-commerce business, which not only opens up new levels of distribution, but also kind of protects them from a competition perspective. So, the biggest risk that we've had with the stock, they've got material coming in from Mexico and China, so that was a big hit for them coming in, starting in February. Stock pulled back quite a bit. You've seen it bounce off the bottom as we've got a little bit more clarity on the tariff situation. And so I think that this is one that you can own for a longer period of time. I think they've got a lot of growth ahead of them. The one thing I would point out, they do report tomorrow after the close. I think the quarter is going to be okay, but guidance-wise, I think it's going to be pretty conservative guidance if they even give guidance at all. But I think the market's expecting that. So I think overall it should be a longer-term winner.
Your next idea is Chart Industries. They're involved in industrial gases, and they're partly a play on the LNG boom.
That's correct. So, I always have to throw out one name that's a little bit higher risk, but higher reward, and Chart fits that bill. It's been a bit of an up and down road for them. They've done a really good job of expanding out. They used to be primarily in some of these really large LNG projects. So a lot of lumpy revenues that they had seen. They've really balanced that out. They're essentially, neutral in terms of, being in LNG, hydrogen, natural gas, carbon dioxide, end markets with industrial gas, carbon capture, water treatment. So they've really done a good job of balancing out. They were really starting to hit their stride a few years ago, and they went out and bought really large acquisition that expanded their balance sheet quite a bit. It was not popular, but the acquisition was very good because it brought in a lot of aftermarket sale products, which reduces the cyclicality and adds to the predictability of the business. So they've been paying down that debt. They traded a big discount to a lot of their peers. I think as we get that leverage down, the stock is going to continue to work much, much higher. They've got a very nice growing order book, high book to bill. So I think there's a lot of predictability in this business going forward.
And your final idea is EnPro. They're involved in ceilings, industrial ceilings, among other things. And you say one advantage here is that they have a lot of aftermarket business.
Right. So the ceiling business, it's interesting. They've got two segments. The ceiling business is in a lot of the, really highly engineered ceiling products. So things that go into vehicles, industrial machinery, aerospace, nuclear, all of these things that are mission critical applications. And so they've got about 2/3 of that business is aftermarket, where, they're running these machines. They have to change these seals on a regular basis. And so they've done a very good job of managing that business. There are other businesses called Advanced Surface Technologies. It's essentially a cleaning and coating business, leveraged to the semiconductor side of the end markets. And so this is a business just coming out of a cyclical downturn. They bottomed out late last year. You're starting to see that business move up. They're getting higher margins out of that. The growth is going to be higher, so there'll be high single-digit, low double-digit growth on the Advanced Surface Technology. Ceiling is going to be mid to high single-digit growth, and then they'll continue to see margins as they leverage that business. with a strong balance sheet to continue to do some tuck-ins to grow overall.
Well, you gave us some names that, I wasn't familiar with any of these three companies. That's great to get some fresh ideas and small caps. Boot Barn, Chart Industries, and EnPro. Dan, really appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Good talking to you.
Dan Skubiz, Senior Portfolio Manager at FM Investments.